Welcome to Pinpoints, key points from top business experts. The topic of this issue is generational breakdown, sticking points and strategies, with best-selling author and business consultant Hayden Shaw. For the first time in history, we have 4 generations in the workplace, and we have 5 generations of customers. The markets themselves have changed. How do we understand where those trends are going and why? That shift has been remarkable in creating a whole new world that we have to deal with, and that has real organizational impact. Most salespeople are good at connecting with customers from their respective generation, and maybe connecting with another generation on either end of their own. But connecting with all generations can be really difficult. Those generational breakdowns are as follows. Traditionalists are those who are over age 67 and now make up 38 million people, according to U.S. labor statistics. Baby boomers are 80 million. The Generation Xers are the smallest of the generations that still have their whole generation living today, at 60 million people. Then come the 83 million millennials, born from 1982 to 2003. The newest generation comprises people who are 11 and a half or younger, but they already account for nearly 14% of the total population. Each group has different needs, values, and perceptions. While all 4 groups are now in the workplace, it doesn't make sense to artificially force these diverse generational segments together without first preparing them to effectively communicate with one another. One of the key secrets is to take the time to understand people and to understand why different generations think the way they do. Here's a 5-step process for dealing with the process of including generational differences. It will help groups work through the 12 sticking points that frequently come up on the job. First, we have to acknowledge that the generational differences exist. The mere act of talking about these differences and getting things out on the table helps immensely and allows each group to appreciate those differences. Next comes focus. Specifically focus on the common needs of the groups. Focusing on the why and not the what helps promote mutual understanding. Of course, we need some practical ideas on what to do. However, if we focus on the what and don't understand why the generations think differently, we will end up with the right technique or the right skill done in the wrong way. Third is flex, which is the ability to agree on how to accommodate different generations. We have to understand each other enough to flex to accommodate. The next is leverage. This requires insight into what each generation brings to the table, which begs the question, how do we leverage the strings that each generation has as they approach the sticking points? Last is the concept of resolve, which is needed to help determine which option will yield the best result across all generations. What are the necessary norms and guidelines? They may not make every generation feel like they are getting exactly what they want, but we have to come to some decision because we can't have 4 different approaches to every sticking point. Now, let's run through the sticking points themselves. They are called sticking points rather than collision points or conflict points because the research shows that they are not huge cataclysmic things, but instead they are places where the generations can get caught or hung up with each other. The sticking points can actually take away from productivity, work time, and from the ability to effectively interact with customers and the people we serve. In alphabetical order, the 12 sticking points are as follows. 1. Communication. 2. Decision-making. 3. Dress code. 4. Feedback processes. 5. Having fun at work. 6. Job security. 7. Knowledge transfer. 8. Loyalty. 9. Meetings, their need and how they're run. 10. Organizational policies. 11. Respect. 12. Training. Each generation has a different perception on each of these points, which leadership must take into account. While organizations can't have 4 different approaches to every sticking point, leadership must thoughtfully consider the generational differences, because a one-size-fits-all approach, without that consideration, won't fit any of the generational stakeholders either. Sometimes the problems can be solved if we just acknowledge and appreciate the generational differences. That allows the ability to flex our understanding and then leverage those differences, creating a way for everybody to get what they need without having to have one approach or one answer to the question. The key is finding the proper balance. Hayden Shaw has researched and helped clients regarding generational differences for more than 20 years, working with more than 1,500 businesses, ranging from startups to Fortune 500 companies.